Morning, beautiful children of God. How you doing this morning? It's a beautiful day. It's a new week. It's a new day. I am so excited. The weather here actually is cloudy. It's one of those you want to stay in bed with either hot chocolate or coffee. It's that type of weather. Looks like it's going to rain, but it is so blessed. Guys, this morning I'm busy reading and we're starting Exodus today. Finally finished with Genesis. And the only thing I can think of as I'm busy reading this is a new cycle. There is new cycles in our lives. You know what? When we are born, it's the start of a cycle. Then you're 2 years old. For some reason, everyone talks about babies and 2 years old when they're two, the naughty twos apparently. Or the terrible twos. And then we get other cycles. And it's when we get 5, 6, or I think it's 7 when you start going to school, and then it's primary school, then it's teenage years, it's high school, and then you hit your 21's a big turn, especially in number. You know what, you're out of the teens and you so-called an adult, and you know what, then you hit your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and there's other milestones where, you know what, you get your first car or you get married. It's, you know what, everything works in cycles. And I see this here because we've done Genesis for quite a while. Actually, for, I think, a couple of months, we've been stuck on Genesis. And we haven't even done a thorough look at Genesis, just looking over them, looking at the people. And then I'm busy reading here in Exodus. And for some reason, I just see this new cycle. I see a new cycle. And this is what happens in our lives, is we've got to embrace the new cycles as they come, because we like to hold on to the past. Sometimes it's about letting go of the past. You know what? Yes, it was good, it was great, but now we must enter into something new. And this is what we got to learn to embrace. And for my message, well, for someone today, the message is, you know what, learn to embrace a new cycle. It might not be the cycle of old. It might be like the Israelites, because we read here, and this is very interesting. If you can read Exodus 1, verse 6. Now Joseph and all his brothers and all that generation died. But the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly, increased in numbers, and became so numerous that the land was filled with them. They were so blessed. I mean, the cycle of Joseph, look how they got there. There was nothing, and then Joseph got there, and then they became plenty. It was great years. It was amazing years. But then, unfortunately, the cycle changed, and this is where they struggled. And then they became slaves. Like Joseph became a slave he came into Egypt as a slave, but then he was set free. And now we see them going backwards again. And don't allow your situation to take you backwards again. Embrace the new cycle. I mean, if you just go read on the next verse, it says here, verse 8, then a new king to whom Joseph meant nothing came to power in Egypt. And then it carries on, and we're going to take it from there, from tomorrow onwards. But here's a new cycle, and we've got to learn to embrace it. You not stop looking back, because a lot of times we look back, the good old days. Yes, they were good, but you know what? Better days are ahead. And that's what we've got to look forward to. That's what we've got to look out to. Is there are better days ahead that can start now. Let's not get sucked into the cycle where it drags us down, where it drags us back, where it drags us in. And then we just look back. It's like, I wish to go back. No, let's live. Let's live now. You know, life and life in abundance. John 10 verse 10. Because I see clearly with this new cycle, John 10 verse 10 coming. The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And we see that because, the Israelites were doing so well. They increased, they were fruitful, they multiplied. They overpopulated the land, basically. You know what? If I read it right, there were so many of them that they probably outnumbered the Egyptians. But they were so blessed. You see, but then the devil comes to try and kill, steal, and destroy. He tries to take you back out of a new cycle. He tries to bring in a new cycle, and a lot of times we allow it. But today, I want to remind you that John 10 verse 10 doesn't end there. It says, and Jesus came to give life and life in abundance. And that's what I want us to live on. That's what I want us to focus on, is focus on Jesus. And you're going to see the new cycle, because yes, you are going into a new cycle. And yes, this new cycle will be fruitful and you will increase. But don't allow the enemy to steal your joy. Don't allow the enemy to overpower you. Whatever situation is coming before you, you turn to Jesus, because he gives life and life in abundance. And that's my message. That's what I want to bless you with today. And that's what I want you to remind yourself, is turn to Jesus and see him give you life and life in abundance. Amen, guys. Blessings, and then we'll speak again tomorrow.